Sports Network. I'm Jon Impemba with James Grande. James, I'm back. Little bachelor party vacation over. Howard Bender, thank you for filling in. Henry Wilson, thank you for filling in while I've been gone. But it's back to talk some MLB baseball with you, man.
And don't forget about Dan Servadidio
Ooh,
either.
Dan Turtle filled in today as well. That's true. That is true.
He filled
Old
in
Turtle there
Mondays.
filling in
Yeah,
on the
Servo.
live stream for Monday.
Yeah, Servo was a great host on Monday's live stream. On a Tuesday slate, we missed you. Your special shout out to Kevin Biggio worked out quite well.
Yep.
I explained it to you before we hopped on here. You and Kevin Biggio together go together like you and condiments. They don't. I'm just kidding. Like peanut butter and jelly. You and Kevin
Yeah,
Biggio.
I was gonna say peanut butter jelly. Listen, listen, Kevin versus certain matchups. I always throw him out there. He's got some power. That's about all he has. So,
But
but we've done pretty well just based off how the slate's shaking out. I caught a little bit of the show as I was coming back today, and we're sitting here recording on Monday evening, just watching the A's just dominate Jose Suarez. Our guy Brett Rooker's got 2 bombs already. And we've been sneaky A's fans in certain
we
matchups and
haven't.
situations this year. We'll see if we can pinpoint some of those matchups that we like here for Tuesday's 9-game main slate. Mr. Howard Bender will be on the playbook for this one. So James, why don't we get into it? Break us down. What are we looking for when it comes to Vegas on this 9-game slate?
Yeah, heading over to Vegas. Let's look. So Atlanta looks to be the biggest favorite on the board. They send Charlie Morton to the mound minus 240. I don't see a starter for Miami listed. They're starting Brian Hoeing, who's getting called up, 26 years old. Removed from the 40-man roster. He has a 2.8 ERA at AAA, but has to face the Braves coming off 11 runs. That's a pretty tough spot for Hoeing there. But nevertheless, he is a big underdog, minus or plus 200. Jose Barrios and the Toronto Blue Jays minus 195 on the money line against the White Sox. Eric Lauer minus 170, Griffin Canning minus 180. Those are the notable totals we have, or notable money line favorites we have. In terms of over unders here, Johnny, let's see what we got. Let us see. So 9.5 once again in this Kansas City Arizona game. It was 10.5 on Monday, and it was a little surprising. Now 9.5. Brady Singer's definitely a better pitcher than Brad Keller. Howard and Bender and I talked pretty extensively at the beginning of Monday's podcast that, like, I don't know, like, it felt like too many runs implied for the Royals, who are 4-17
Right.
here. And Arizona's a good offense, but like still young and inexperienced. Interesting to see that line back at 9.5. 9 runs, 8.5 in some places in Wrigley Field. The Padres are headed into Wrigley. That's it. Those are the only like noteworthy environments I take it back. 9.5 in Toronto, Chicago. Jose Barrios, Mike Clevenger, not expected to exactly be a pitcher's matchup there, John.
Right. Let's just get into it. We got 9 games, got a lot of pitches to get to. We talk all the time. You work your way down rotations. And some days we have slates like this where not to take away, obviously, from the guys at the top, Joe Ryan and Justin Steele have been phenomenal for most of this year. Coming off of some pretty strong starts, both of them up over 10K, but they're not your traditional names that you see priced up above 10K. Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom. Not quite. You got Joe Ryan here coming off of a quality start outing against Boston. Only 3 strikeouts in that game, but had back-to-back 10 strikeout performances prior to that against Houston and New York. We have Justin Steele, one of your favorite pitchers in DFS. He's coming off of another quality start outing, this time against Oakland, 6 innings, 105 Ks. He faced the Dodgers in LA, 7 innings, 2 earned, 8 strikeouts in that one. He's at home. He's got the Padres Nestor Cortez in Minnesota is at $9,900. For whatever reason, Sean Manaea is $9,400 here against the Cardinals. That feels like a misprice here.
Well, look at you missed the last Sean Manaea start. If you think 94 is a misprice,
Yeah, 99.96, right? 99.96. I didn't miss it. I watched it.
right.
It was I don't get it. And then you have guys like Lauer's at $8,800, probably one of the more popular plays on this slate, home against Detroit. But talk about the top four here. I mean, I think we're just crossing Manaea off here.
Yes.
Ryan, Steele, Cortez, if you're ranking them, how do you feel confident in those matchups?
So I feel pretty confident in Joe Ryan against the Yankees. The Yankees offense looks terrible. Without Giancarlo Stanton, there's just no depth to this lineup. Every night they're basically forced to use guys who just can't hit. Like Frenchie Cordero, that period of time is over. He stinks. Every other player outside of Aaron Judge, like there's just no protection in this lineup for anybody. There's a 25% strikeout rate to go along with it. That's only going to get higher.
Take them
After
out of Yankee Stadium too, where it's a better hitter environment and doesn't do them any justice.
Yeah, and it's been 40 degrees every night in Minnesota. We had snow on Friday in Minnesota. There was 40 degrees in Minnesota on Monday night. Like this is terrible hitting environment. So cold Yankees team meets cold weather. That doesn't equal warming up.
Right.
So I like Joe Ryan quite a bit, 10-5. Justin Steele has like a pretty tough matchup. But we said that against the Dodgers, and we said that against the Rangers, and he's passed every test so far. He has a very high ceiling because he has a lot of strikeout appeal. I like Nestor Cortez as well. I think Minnesota has looked better against righties this year, and I'd have to look at the stats to back that up. Let's see. OPS for Minnesota against lefties, 26th. So, and they also have a 28% K rate. So I was not wrong with my thinking. I really like Nestor as the third kind of guy in this, but like maybe he's my fate. I would say both pitchers from that game are my favorite, followed by Justin Steele.
Okay. Yeah. I don't hate that.
Because Nestor's been awesome as well, like just very consistent thus far.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are some guys in Minnesota's lineup we know hits lefties, Buxton and Correa. They got Polanco back. But for the most part, that lineup isn't as intimidating as you move on down. In the 8K range, we got a handful of guys here. Again, Lauer at home historically has been where we wanted to use him. I know his last two starts on the road, he's been really good. San Diego and Seattle.
Even
Really strong performances there.
His first start too.
Actually, his 3 road starts this year have been great. His one home start was against a Cardinals team that cracks lefties. They got to him. But if you look at last year's splits, really good at home, gets Detroit. We know we like this spot for Lauer at $8,800. Blake Snell, Charlie Morton, notable names here. And then we have Brian Hoeing making his debut start for the Marlins. Not that we were probably looking to target him against Atlanta. And then Berrios, as we mentioned earlier, he's got Toronto here, but he's been largely a can, with the exception of that most recent outing against Houston.
Yeah, he's the White Sox, but yeah, same thing. I think Lauer and Morton are probably 2 of the more popular pitchers on the slate, right? Like, does it feel like we need to get to the 10K range? No.
Right.
So just plugging Lauer against Detroit, one of the best matchups on the board, and then Morton, it's not the same as Spencer Strider, but look what Spencer Strider just did to this Marlins team, who looks depleted offensively. 24% strikeout rate going into the night against righties. They're bottom half of the league against in OPS, ISO, and WOBA too. Like bottom third of the league, rather. I love Morton, probably my favorite play. If Lauer and Morton are probably 1A, 1B in terms of favorite plays that we've talked about so far, probably favorite plays on the entire slate.
Yeah, I agree with you. Morton, the pitch count's been a little concerning. But I like that they at least let him throw the 104 pitches.
Yep.
So he has some ceiling, but 89 pitches in a 10-3 game. Maybe he just got the hook at 89 because 10-3. They lost 1-0 to San Diego. He got pulled to 85. He had 3 walks. But diving into that one, 6 complete innings. Maybe they just wanted to, because it was a close competitive game, go to the pen there. I would like to see more pitches. I would love to see him get in the 90s, but the 6 innings is strong there. So I'm with you, Lauer and Morton for sure in that range. We go under the 8K. Who's the notable start for you? There's certainly a lot of question marks on this slate once we start moving down into the value tier.
I don't know what happened to Brady Singer from last year to this year, because he was awesome last year and it was a breakout season and he's been dreadful thus far. And I kind of wish he wasn't, because I would like to use him here. We both like Arizona's offense, but
Yeah.
they're also very inconsistent. So a banged up Christian Walker. I wouldn't hate Brady Singer, but he's kind of been bad. Griffin Gascanning isn't terrible. He's been okay in his first 2 starts back. The first start was cut short, 69 pitches. Then they let him go 100 pitches against the
Right.
Yankees. He is definitely someone I'm more interested in using against Oakland as opposed to like Jose Suarez. Oakland, you know, I'm not just saying it because we saw what they did on Monday, has guys that can hit lefties, right? Like
Yep.
their top half of the lineup, since calling up Jordan Diaz, getting Brett Rooker hitting fourth, and Aguilar, or Rooker hitting third and Aguilar hitting
Canning's a righty
fourth.
though, so
Right. I'm just saying, like, they hit lefties well, right?
yeah.
Canning is not. They don't have that same lineup depth.
Gotcha. They don't have the pop versus lefties, is what you're saying. Righties is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm saying the pop is kind of there against Southpaws,
Yeah.
whereas it isn't against righties. So I mean, I'm actually kind of interested in Canning.
I mean, we
Oakland,
saw how bad Suarez has been this year, and he was 15% rostered. So people will just
crazy.
continually target matchups against Oakland.
Yeah, and I think it's not a terrible idea long term. Like, you'll probably be more profitable than not. But I think you should kind of pause when you have a subpar lefty in the mound. Like Canning, back injury last year. I think he's a decent pitcher who's looked decent through 2
Right.
starts, Washington and the Yankees, and now he gets a bad offense. So, yeah, I like Griffin Canning here, 64. He's probably my favorite. I don't know if you have anyone else. Um,
Honestly, I don't. There's really not much down here.
the Mason Miller kid is interesting. He throws every fastball over 100 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
Oh, that's what he said.
So
He's a 2 pitch guy through over 100, and then he throws a slider. So that's
he
basically it.
averaged, John, he averaged 99.3 miles per hour on his fastball in his debut.
Yeah. And he
That's
in that debut, he got 81 pitches in that one. So, you know, maybe he gets a little bit more, 4 and a third, 4 hits, 2 earned, 5 Ks. The one walk is nice. Usually guys that throw that hard coming up from the minors, maybe
right.
they have, some control problems, because he doesn't have an extensive minor league
No,
track record, is what we discussed before too. He only had like a handful of starts.
from Double A, right? Then
Yeah,
he got called up from Double A, I believe.
yeah. So pretty interesting. He yeah, maxing out at 102 and a half miles an hour is his fastball there. So
Insane.
yeah, listen, Angels, we know that lineup. We talk about it all the time. More potent versus lefties, and once you get past, I don't know, Hunter Renfro, like there's that bottom half of the lineup, not overly appealing either there. Catcher position. Sean Murphy's now your most expensive catcher on a slate. Was tonight. Had a good night. Wilson Contreras versus lefty at $4,700. I think stack in St. Louis. In San Francisco is kind of a little interesting, but they definitely have guys that can mash against Southpaws here. And then there's just a bunch of injured players. So, I mean, talk to me about catcher. Are you looking to spend up, or are we just taking whatever value is on the board for us here?
I mean, I don't hate the idea of getting to any of these 3 guys. I don't know who, like, Hoeing is making his season debut at 26 years old, but he's looked good at AAA. Murphy's looked awesome lately. Contreras has a good spot, but like I don't know, 4,700 feels excessive. If this game environment is actually going to be good, I don't hate Salvi. Ryan Nelson looked pretty bad last time out, so he's okay. None of them like stand out
Right.
that much. Like William Contreras homered, gets Turnbull. Alejandro Kirk was on base 3 times and gets
If
a
we're
pretty
not
good
playing
inning.
Lauer, Haas gets the lefty.
He's
Generally a
kind of
split.
sucked this year. He's like
I
no,
know.
there's no power either, which is weird.
Jan Gomes homered off Kershaw. He's got Blake Snell.
Hunt Gomes is the goat. The guy just is the goat. I don't know
I
what to
mean,
say.
that could certainly be our spot, right? Like we always just play him against every lefty. Homering off Kershaw. I don't know why Blake Snell would really be any different here.
I agree. That's probably the
And then Gabriel
spot.
Moreno if he's in the lineup again against Singer at 26.
Sure. I think it's even an even better price than it was on Monday.
Yep, I'm with you there. That is probably it for me though.
Blake Siebel has some power from the left side. He'll probably be in the lineup against Woodford. Alvarez homered the other day for the first time this year. Hits in 2 of his last 3. If you want to go
Yep.
there, um, Matt Tice, 2 of his hits. He has 2 hits this year. One is a home run. Probably in the lineup for the Angels, getting the righty, but all just punt plays there, catcher.
At first base then. Otani obviously ranks out at first base. He's 64. We have Goldschmidt versus Manaya here. 61. Pete Alonso's over 6K against Josiah Gray. Matt Olson gets hoeing. We talk about power on a guy making his debut. 59. Vladdy against Clevenger at 57. That's your 5 first baseman over 5K.
Yeah, I mean Otani's could homer against anybody. Goldschmidt gets a lefty. That's when we've loved to use him.
I'm pulling up some
Um,
BVP here, see if he's got anything against Manaya.
I think Pete Alonso is just an all-star, like
Just
a
1 for 3
rock.
with a triple for Goldschmidt there.
Interesting. Alonso's a rock star, so you could play him. Same thing with Olson. Hoeing is in trouble. Olson's kind of struggled lately, so that's something to note. Clevenger against Vladdy, dude. Vladdy is so good. Stole a base on Monday night, even in a night where he struggles offensively. Let's see what Clevenger is struggling with lefties though. I'd say Goldschmidt and Alonso probably, with Olson as a close third.
Okay.
For me, you can get to Otani and Vladdy if you want, but I think the other
Roddy
3 get
Telez is homered in 2 of the last 3 games here. 2 of the last 4, I guess.
Yeah.
Gets Spencer Turnbull at $4,300.
Yep.
This feels like a
APB.
pretty
Yeah.
good spot there for him.
This feels like one of those Milwaukee boom games against
Yeah,
Turnbull.
yeah, because you can use the lefties. You can use the lefties in that Milwaukee lineup.
And when you talk about if you want to throw a righty in there, Adames has been historically better against righties. 4 home runs, even this year. 404 WOBA against right-handed arms.
Yep.
But you're right. Lefties have crushed Turnbull. 326 average, 988 OPS, and 420 WOBA. This feels awfully good for Milwaukee here.
Yep. Some other value plays. Pasquantino's got a double and a run scored here tonight. He's got Nelson, and then on the opposite side of that matchup, 2 more hits for Pavin Smith here at 3,200 against Singer. Lefty on the righty spot there. So those are the 2 value first basemen for me.
Yep. 100% agree on those guys.
Anybody else for you?
If you want to play Brandon Bell against Clevenger, if he's in the lineup, it's fine.
Sure. Second base position. Thairo Estrada is your top guy here against Woodford at $5,400. We talk about it. We like San Francisco when they're not facing lefties. Estrada's got power and speed. We're clapping. What are we clapping?
Because
did Rooker just hit his third?
No, Nico Horner, $5,100.
Oh,
I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of how good he is.
I
Dude,
heard Howard in the chat the other day. We're not all Nico Horner fan club guys.
and then you know what happened, Sean? He homers in 2
Homer,
straight days.
he
2
homer.
straight days. 2 straight
Yeah.
days.
I didn't even think
He
Nico Horner was going to have more than one homer in a year. He hit bet 2 back to back. I saw that from chat from Howard, and I immediately commented. I was like, no, we're all Nico Horner fan club guys here. Yeah, for sure. Big 5100 definitely feels like a
No,
stretch,
crazy.
but
No, that's crazy.
it feels crazy. But
Like Kevin Garnett said, John, anything is
anything is
possible.
possible. I'd rather play a stride at 54.
I'm not playing Nico Horner at 51. I'm just also like proud of us.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Nico Horner.
Estrada's like one of my favorite players. I wish I got him in our auction league. Wasn't able to do it.
He's quite good. He's quite
power, speed, gets a righty, and
I think-
Woodford, who's trash.
I think it comes. This is a really good Giants spot other than the ballpark. I think what it comes down to with Estrada is like, what are you doing at pitcher? Because that would limit, obviously, like if you use Estrada, like you're staking claim that Estrada is like one of your top
Right, but if
spins,
you're
right?
going, if you go like Lauer Canning,
Right. But if you're not, if you're going a Joe Ryan or a Justin Steele or a Nestor Cortez, then I think it's harder to do that.
Sure.
Right. And I'm not, I love Dairo Estrada. I'm just saying, I think that's a way to look at like what to do with your roster construction.
100%. Mid-tier range. What do you like in here? There's not a ton that pops off this page. Glauber's got the tough matchup against Ryan. Albies gets hoeing, but not the right split side for us when it comes to those matchups here. Polanco against Cortez, not the greatest spot. Jeff McNeil, just the gentleman hitter there that he is, gets Josiah Gray at $3,900. I don't know. Does anything pop for you here?
Dude, Polanco's been so good since coming back. Another 2 hits and 3 RBIs on Monday. So now he has hits in all 4 games he's played in. Runs driven in, 5 runs in 4 games too. Like he's been pretty dang good. He hit third on Monday. So Polanco I think would be the one guy for me. Other than that, like I like that Geraldo Perdomo has multi-position eligibility now. He has second base. That's
hit
good.
Leadoff today against righty,
yeah,
so maybe he hits leadoff here against Singer.
Could be the same. Then it just literally falls off a cliff. Probably would go back to Will and Jordan Diaz for Oakland. 2,200. He was 2,700 on Monday. Bryce Terang could actually be pretty interesting. Lefty-righty matchup. He's been kind of bad. He's striking out a lot.
Yeah, 6 strikeouts the last 3 games, not counting tonight.
So like, if you're playing Brewers, I can get to Terang. I don't know. Is there anything?
Jordan Diaz is probably the guy here because $2,200. Where he's sitting in that lineup. If you're even, obviously, if you're not playing Canning with that, obviously you wouldn't go Diaz against Canning, but just pure punt makes sense. But also, again, we talked about if Perdomo's leading off against Singer, like why not? Why not just throw him?
Agreed.
Arizona's gonna be cheap. The only expensive play in Arizona seemingly is just Corbin Carroll now, and he's
expensive.
Yeah, quotations because he's like $4,400.
He's up 47. Nice. I'm actually proud of DraftKings.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah, they are. He was always closer to 5K than he was anything else. Like that's where he should be priced.
A double, a walk, and like 2 runs tonight. So like he's
pretty good baseball player.
Yeah, he's a good player. Third base, we got Arenado versus Manaea here. We got Riley versus Hoeing. Chapman against Clevenger is your top 3 here. I don't know why Josh Rojas' 4,900 doesn't really belong to be in that category. Machado's 48, but obviously they get the matchup against Steele. Wisdom's 47. I probably want to just play Riley. Nothing against Arenado, but I just like Riley here on the spot.
Yeah, homered on Monday too. So he had been slumping a little bit, has been kind of slumping.
The top three guys are all slumping, really. Chapman's hitting 229 his last 10. Arenado's hitting 231. Riley's hitting 211, not counting tonight's game. So
You could stretch that to Machado too, like
yeah,
almost the whole
at
outside of
179. Yeah.
Wisdom, right? Outside of Wisdom, it's really just like a position full of guys struggling right now because
Yeah,
like
you're
Rendon
paying for the
stinks.
talent that they are, not the talent that they're
Yeah.
currently playing at.
Um, yeah, I guess like it's probably Riley. I mean, the hoeing spot is obviously concerning. A hot day in Atlanta, Georgia, balls flying. Like they scored 11 runs against Edward Cabrera and company on Monday. It's probably him. Obviously, you can play Wisdom for. He has 6 home runs in his last 10 games. Like this guy
Yeah,
is unreal in the power department. And then you're just going down. I have really liked Brian Anderson against righties this year. I actually liked him quite a bit on Monday night just because third base was such a crap position.
sure.
We're kind of there again, right? Where it's like kind of bad again. Brian Anderson, multi position eligibility, 302, 4 home runs, and 356 WOBA against righties. Not too bad.
That seems pretty good. Pretty good. Let's see. Is there any value? I mean, if Beatty's back in the lineup,
Yep. If
right?
Bay's in the lineup, where we
2,500
where
against
I was gonna say
Josiah Gray.
I must have passed him. Yeah, if he's in the lineup, for sure.
Feels like he
He's
should be, right? Since there's righty on the mound.
yeah, and he's been a little better.
Yeah.
Hits in 3 straight.
That's
So
probably it. It's probably Beatty if you're not spending up somewhere.
it's Beatty if you're not spinning up.
Shortstop position. Bichette's at 58, Xander's at 55, Adames, as you mentioned, 53, Dancy Swanson's 52, Lindor's 51, Bobby Witt's 5K. Correa gets a lefty at 48. And then it dumps all the way down under 4K. Volpe up to $3,900. So very expensive shortstop position.
Yeah, I mean it's loaded though. Like I would get to Bichette in a Toronto stack. Bogarts probably as a one-off I'm okay with, or if you're using Padres. We mentioned we like a shout out. I love Willy Adames. I'm gonna have a lot of Milwaukee. I'm not pivoting off of Milwaukee from now until the live stream. Can't talk me out of it, John, like you
I'm
always
not going to
do.
try.
Um, Adames loves his right-handed pitching, and he loves hitting in Milwaukee because you can apparently see there.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can't see, go to Milwaukee, and then you'll.
Good batter's eye there. So
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna go to Milwaukee. Maybe I'll become have 20/20 vision and be able to play professional baseball.
there you go.
Yeah, so Adames I like. Snell I don't think much of, but Swanson's struggling, tough to get there. I think you can get Lindor if you want. He's fine,
Better
but
push versus the lefties. You
yeah,
always said,
I
right?
like what Bobby Witt's done of late. He's not having a great game Monday, but he had come into this game very, very, very hot. So I can get to Witt. Not much love for Correa and Volpe in this next tier, and
Paul DeJong is back.
it's so annoying. This is I said this Servo on Monday's live stream teed me up with that question. He's like, All the Young, 2K. I'm like, dude, this is the same song and dance we saw last year. He got called up. He like hit up like 3 home runs in his first like 4 games. And then it was like, oh, Paul DeYoung. And then he was like hitting 100 20 days later. And it's like, oh, you're telling me that you didn't expect Paul DeYoung to do this? Oh, weird.
Yeah, but he's facing a lefty, so
I don't care. I do not care I don't care if he's facing an underhand softball pitcher. Like he's not that guy, pal.
that's
Sorry.
right. He actually had no home. Interestingly enough, last year. Oh, never mind. That was Nolan Gorman. I was like, why is that weird? Because I clicked on the wrong player, John. That would be why. Splits last year, lefties. Last year he was just bad. Last year he was just
He's
as you
been
mentioned.
bad for so
Last year he was
long.
just bad.
He's been bad for so long.
He's been bad for a little bit. Let's see. BVP versus Manaya does not exist, so he's never faced Manaya either. So
you can keep
that's fine.
trying.
He's 2,500. I just wanted to mention his name.
I'm happy that you wanted to mention him. I'm happy if we never do.
Okay. Where did he hit the other day?
He hit 7th on Monday.
Okay.
and then they moved Tommy Edman to ninth, which doesn't make a bit of sense because Tommy Edman was scorching baseballs, scorching
Dude,
the earth.
you tweeted at me about
The
Tommy
day he
Edman's
had the
leadoff
three
that
for
day.
four,
41 fantasy points.
it
So
was that day. Yep, it
he's
was that
goaded.
day.
He's goaded. All right, let's go on over to the outfield position here, James. We got quite a few players to talk about. We're about halfway through the program here. Still going to give you our lineup breakdown at the end of the show. We'll give out some home run calls here as well. Let's talk about this top tier of the outfielders, man.
Ronald Acuna is a psychopath. So if you want to play him, he has as much upside as any singular player every single night. I think if he touches 7K, I think that would be the first time ever that a position player was 7K, and I might still pay for it. Like,
Well,
look at this,
374 batting average,
dude.
good. Yeah.
Dude, is 12 stolen bases in your first 22 games good?
Yeah.
Like, this guy is.
I've been away for a little bit here, but shout out to DraftKings for finally fixing the OPS. I don't know what day that happened, but
late llast week. It was a glorious, glorious change.
Yeah, it's fantastic not seeing Ronald Acuna with a 200 OPS anymore.
True. But so Acuna,
7 stolen bases in the last 10 games. Sheesh.
Dude, it's like, yes, this is what we've wanted for Ronald Acuna. Yeah, this is what we've wanted for Ronald Acuna for his whole career, right? Just need to stay healthy. You can get to either Angels guy, can't fault you. If you want to play Judge in a tournament, can't fault you. I think Tatis is interesting, but I don't think a priority. To be honest, I know it's like probably contrarian to say. I almost would rather play the two Cubs 5K outfielders than the two Padres 5K outfielders. They're priced right next to each other in the same game. Ian Happ has been awesome this year. And Seiya's been pretty good since being back as well.
Yeah.
Like, I would probably play the two Cubs. I think they just have a better matchup overall than the two Padres. Then it's
I
like,
speed from Hap lately too. 3 stolen bases the last 10.
Yeah, he's a good player. There's a reason why I thought he was definitely going to be dealt last year at the deadline. I was really hoping the Yankees were going to get him. Instead, we traded Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader, but great trade there. I was really hoping Hap would have been dealt to the Yanks, and then they kept him, and then they signed him to the extension, and you see that it's paying dividends. I don't love the rest of the 5K tier, though. Maybe Springer. I profiled it on Monday's podcast with Howard. Springer has had the worst batted ball luck. He has like a 120 BABIP. His expected WOBA is like 360 this year. Just awful luck. And wasn't in the lineup Monday, but Clevenger's bad. And this game has one of the highest implied totals. The Blue Jays are going to have one of the highest implied totals themselves. Like, I can get to Springer.
We always say it. Nobody ever really plays this Toronto team because they're all so expensive that it's like hard to stack them.
You know what's funny though? We talked about it when we were talking about Estrada. Like, depending on your roster construction, you could probably get Blue Jays pretty comfortably today because you said it. Like, you could go Lauer Canning, or we can go Morton Canning, or some combination of those pitchers and play Blue Jays, and it's like pretty good because Mike Clevenger's pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't mind Jazz. I know the numbers so far haven't been great, but he does have a good amount of stolen bases over the last 10 games. He gets Morton on the mound. We talked about Morton's walks. He's been giving a lot of free passes away. Not that Jazz is a guy that tends to walk at all, but if he does find himself on base, he's already got 7 stolen bases on the season. Right. And has that power potential there. Also, he's also again, smaller sample size for BVP, but 6 for 17 in his career versus Charlie Morton there. So, I know we're not always the biggest BVP truthers here, but certainly a guy that has done well in the limited at bats there against Morton in his career. I kind of agree with you. The rest of this is kind of whatever. Selling Marte could get on and steal bags against Josiah Gray. Certainly could be. If you want to go Mets at 5,200, Taylor Ward's got some power against Miller, who's just throwing flames. Buxton gets the lefty matchup if you're not playing Cortez. So there are certainly guys in the range that you can make cases for, but I largely agree with you on those who you've broken down. If we're looking under 5K here, we've talked about stacking Milwaukee, but does Christian Yelich make that lineup for you?
I mean, I think he's still a big part of what they do. He's just so inconsistent. He it's so hard, dude, to like assess what Christian Yelich is at this point.
Sure.
Um, but he has like a handful of like really big games already this year. 3 home runs, 5 stolen bases is pretty good. Gonna lead off against Turnbull, who struggled mightily against lefties. So yeah, he's in my player pool. And I would include him in Milwaukee stacks because again, like you get your Yelich, Adames, and Rowdy Telez stack right off the bat. Like all 3 of those guys have home run pop. 2 of the 3 can steal you a base. 2 of them
Yeah.
could probably double dong.
Right.
Maybe all 3. So yeah, I like Yelich here. He's not, it's obviously hard to pay 4,900 for him, but if you're playing Brewers, I'm definitely in.
We haven't talked a lot about the White Sox here, but we know that Barrios is a guy that we've liked to target. Luis Robert is $4,900. Generally, it feels like their outfield is where their offense comes
Yep.
from. So you have Eloy, you have Robert, and you have Benintendi mixed in there. I mean, how are you feeling about this White Sox matchup against Barrios?
I just don't like the White Sox lineup, truthfully. Like I know
Tim Anderson coming back soon, but till
soon.
then,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think more was expected out of Oscar Colas, and Eli was banged up, and Robert's in a terrible slump, and Benintendi just is what he is. There's just no power, barely any speed. Like he's just a contact guy.
yeah.
I like the White Sox what they did on Monday, leading Luis Robert off, maybe get him jump started. But Barrios has been just awful against lefties, and when you look at the White Sox lineup, where is that coming from? Benintendi, no power.
Yeah.
Grandal is fine, right? Like Colas has done nothing to like warrant us to not play Barrios. Like I might be more prone to use Barrios today than you guys against him. I know like it's not the best
I mean, he's
spot.
coming off 2 good starts against Tampa
Yeah.
Bay and Houston. So
8,100 a pretty good price tag.
pitch count, very weird though. 71, 77, 77 the last 3. And again, 2 of the last 3 starts, he actually pitched pretty well.
Yeah, and a lot of ground balls. It's good to see, right?
Mhm.
Because as soon as he starts giving up the power, like the fly balls, like the ball's leaving the yard.
Like,
So
why is he getting pulled 7 innings, 2 earned at 77 pitches?
maybe that's Toronto's just trusting their bullpen.
Maybe. Well, it didn't
Um,
work out because they lost
there was
8 to
there
1.
was a knee issue, coming into the season
Okay.
reportedly. He had a comebacker off. Yandy Diaz hit a comebacker. No, I guess that was in the Tampa Bay start. He took a comebacker off the knee and left. So I don't know. I can't talk to the other starts.
Yeah. Kind of weird.
But full circle back to your question, like not for me. I like Luis Robert a lot. I just not a lot of faith in this White Sox offense right now.
Okay. We're okay paying 4,700 for Corbin Carroll. We think he's a 5K
Absolutely.
player. So
Yeah. Yep.
certainly in on that. I don't mind Jock Peterson against Woodford. I'm not a big Woodford fan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Giants are
Var-
interesting. Giants are interesting in this one.
yeah, yeah. Varsho hit a bomb the other day against. He's got Clevenger here at 44.
Yep.
Nimmo has been an on base machine. I'm perfectly
He
fine
sure
going there.
has.
I wish he would steal a little bit more, but
Dude, didn't we look 3 stolen bases already matched last year's
I
total,
know,
right?
I know. I just
So
wish that he was going a little bit more than he
yeah.
is. Because he's getting on base, he's scoring runs. 8 runs scored
Yep.
the last 10 games, 8 RBIs, 2 homers. So certainly good with Nimmo there at $4,300. Haniger activated off of the IL.
Yep.
He's talking about matchups there for the Giants being a little bit interested. He's $4,200. Conforto, lefty versus Woodford, 4K. So yeah, maybe we're talking harder about this
The
Giants
Giants.
team here against Woodford.
Yeah, I think both of those guys are in play. Probably Conforto more so for me. I'm okay getting to Haniger as well. Both Conforto also kind of coming back from an injury recently too. 366 Woba against left or against righties already this year. Dude, Jake Woodford. You're right. You're right. Jake Woodford
Giants.
this year.
Yeah.
Oof. Righties hitting 313. Lefties hitting 362. Righties 1000 almost 1100 OPS. Righty or lefties 1000 OPS. Righties 448 WOBA. Lefties 431 WOBA.
He's not. He's terrible.
That's bad. Now I wish this was a slightly better ballpark,
Right.
but that will absolutely depress the Giants rostership if you want to be contrarian there.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Giants here, and those numbers just sort of like solidify that Yastrzemski's $3,700. Gonna just fit into a lot of builds here, and all those guys have like enough power that they could homer. Right? There's
Yep.
oftentimes we'll go through a lineup where it's like this player's fine, but like he's not gonna homer. You need him to get on and score a couple times or get a double, a couple RBIs. Yaz, Conforto, Haniker could all homer. Like those are definitely some value there when it comes to building there in those spots. What other guys are you looking at in this 35, 36, 700 range?
Um, I like Dylan Carlson against a lefty if he cracks the lineup. He only hits lefties well. I will not even consider using him in other scenarios. Yastrzemski's fine, 37. He's looked a little better at the dish lately. Hits in 4 or 5. He's been fine. Going down, I mentioned Brian Anderson. You can also play him in the outfield. I like that. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else that I really love.
Okay.
Like I wish Jesse Winker was better, but he's just not he doesn't get to play in Great American Ballpark anymore. Look at all
I
these
mean,
Reds. Look at all these Reds, ex-Reds just getting their power sapped out of them.
well, what's funny is like we talk about how like small sample sizes and how quickly like numbers change. Like last week, Winker was hitting over 300, and then he gets into a 5-game stretch where he goes 2 for what am I looking at here? 2 for 18, and now he's hitting 229.
Right.
He should play though now that Garrett Mitchell's
Yeah.
out. He is a lefty here. He was hitting sort of like 6th or 7th, so I don't hate it. I think Milwaukee is a better hitter environment than he had in Seattle. So
Sure.
fine there. Jordan Walker's 34. Dude, Eloy Jimenez is all the way down to 3,300
Yeah.
bucks. I get
That's
it.
getting crazy.
But like, I mean, man has a 6-game hitting streak going.
Yep.
So I don't know. He's got homers in 2 of his last 3. The Eloy's on a $3,300 player. That's
Yep.
I get what you're saying. I understand it. And Barrios certainly maybe is appealing as a pitcher given his last 2 outings, but I don't know. Eloy Jimenez is not this.
I'm
So
not I'm not sitting here saying that I think Barrios is gonna shut them down by any means. I think Barrios is probably gonna get in some spots. Eloy could be the spot that he gets into that gives him the most trouble,
right.
I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't think you're getting to their bottom of the lineup. Let's see the bottom of they scored 2 runs on Monday. The bottom of their lineup was their lineup. This was their lineup in general. This is what Servo and I talked about on the live stream. Luis Robert, Andrew Benintendi, Andrew Vaughn, Jimenez, Grandal, right? That's their top 5. Pretty decent, but nothing I think that we're Andrew Vaughn is better against lefties, hitting 3rd against a righty.
Yeah.
Then you get after Grandal, Berger hitting 6th, Colas 7th, Andrus 8th, Sosa 9th. That is a terrible back half of your
Yep.
lineup. Terrible. So as much as I think Eloy can do damage hitting 4th, he has no protection behind him, and just the lineup. The White Sox are in shambles. The lineup's in shambles. They're just a bad team.
Sure.
7-16 on the year. I think Eloy is a great price, and you could play him in tournaments as a one-off. Just not confident that anybody else in the lineup can do anything other than him or Luis Robert on a nightly
That's fair. Let's keep it a little bit lower. Rooker has homered twice.
Yep,
Do you like him better against a lefty though in Suarez than we would Canning here?
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oliveira's homered tonight. $3,100 for him.
If he is hitting second, I think he hit second because the lefty was on the mound. So we'll see. But also, they didn't have Melendez. So if MJ Melendez comes back, I don't even know if Olivares will be in the lineup.
Okay.
I assume he would be, but uh, probably not hitting second.
Okay. I always recommend playing Hilliard.
Yep.
Homered twice tonight. He hits eighth or ninth. You get
Stole
the
a base
wrap
too, John, just to make you feel a little better. He stole a
Yeah.
base as well.
I like the guy. A lot of power. Power's carried over from cores, which sometimes doesn't always happen here. Yeah, he's venturing to be my favorite under 3K lineup play. Scrolling down here a bit. Anybody jumping off the page for you? Rosario homer tonight. He's $2,300.
The whole entire Braves bottom half of the lineup dominated, huh? They went 11. They won 11-0, and Ronald Acuna was 0 for 4 with a walk.
Yeah.
Shout out to Acuna for taking one for the team. He felt bad for them.
There's not really much out here
No,
again.
there's not. There's not.
I don't know if Owen Miller would play again with the righty on the mound versus, we played tonight, hit 6 versus a lefty, but he's 2K again.
He might. I would assume, like, I don't know, Miller or Weimer. They're both like the same. They might start Perkins, who is a switch hitter. He started the other day. They called him up. He's like 26 years old, career minor leaguer. Maybe Perkins cracks the lineup.
Sure.
But like, probably don't need to go there. But we'll see. We'll see the Brewers lineup because we love the Brewers in this spot.
Yep, I'm with you there. James, before we build our lineup here, why don't we give a little bit of a home run call for the day?
I'll go Willy Adames for the home run.
Ooh, that is a man of confidence speak there, because generally, James, you kind of hem and haw a little bit. I don't know, John, you go. Well,
I mean, the Brewers have been on the Brewers have been tip of this podcast the entire night. Like it just is what it is. Like they are poised to have a big game against Spencer Turnbull. Spencer Turnbull struggles against both sides of the plate. Willy Adames hits righties. Big favorites. I love everything about the Brewers. Pitching, they're hitting. But we've said, John, we have said this ad nauseum to start this year here on the Better Sports Network and at Fantasy Alarm. They are the biggest boomer bust team in the league when it comes to DFS. Like they might score 0 runs. They might score 25 runs. We'll check back with us on Monday's live stream or on Tuesday's podcast.
I'm going to go with Jock Peterson.
Everybody get up. It's time to dance now. Oh, no, that wasn't. What is I don't want a place to stay. I'm looking for what Jock Jam song.
Are you in Jock Jams right now?
I'm trying. I'm trying to break out like the whole album, but like that's all I got. I got like 2 songs,
I was trying to see how far out you were going to just go down the now 100 playlists or whatever we have.
I was just hitting. There is probably now 100. I wonder when the Now franchise finally was asked to stop. Right? Them and Kids Bop were probably asked at the same time. Like, hey guys.
Yeah, we've had enough. We've had enough of these lineups. Here. Now we're kind of dating ourselves here, James.
True.
The audience wasn't already sure, where we were age wise.
Oh, for the listeners that tune in every day, they've heard the dad jokes on the daily. Like it's been a brutal brutal battle out here, John.
James, before we get to building our MLB DFS lineups here, everybody's got to know that the NFL draft week is here. You can learn about top rookies and follow all the stories on the Better Sports Network. Listen every day for rookie profiles, rankings, NFL team needs, mock drafts, and more, plus the best odds and strategies to bet on the NFL draft as well. Be sure to join us for our live coverage Thursday and Friday night. I'll be on the shows both Thursday and Friday in various formats there. So you got to tune in on the Better Sports Network app and bettersports.com. Streaming across all Better Sports and Fantasy Alarm social platforms there as well. It's going to be a monster wall-to-wall coverage for Thursday and Friday, breaking down all the picks, giving you our bets, the instant fantasy analysis, and everything that you would want in between there. Plus, you can also see on the screen right now using promo code NFL Draft at fantasyalarm.com. That saves you 20% off the annual subscription package. So we have the month-to-month package. You see that promo code down below there. You can use promo code MLB50 for 50% off the first 6 months. But the best deal you can get right now is buying the annual package for 20% off there using promo code NFL Draft. You can go fantasyalarm.com /all-pro there for that one. So that's what we got going on here at Fantasy Alarm and across the Better Sports Network. NFL Draft Week, NFL season, fantasy football. It's wild that it's already here, but it is. But James, let's get back to what the people tuning in are looking for. Let's build a little bit of an MLB DFS lineup here. I have a feeling I know where we're going to be going when it comes to some of the hitters based off your home run call. We're kind of feeling Brewers. We're kind of feeling Giants. Let's see how we can put the pieces of the puzzle together today. Pitching wise, if we're picking that 8K starter, are we going Lauer or are we going Morton here?
I started building. I just built with our 2 home run calls, and I built Lauer Canning. That was how I started. I think we could toy with the idea of going both Lauer Morton. I think,
Okay.
but like
Lauer Morton gives us 4K a play. So
that the only problem is Adames is 53 and Jock is 45. So we definitely need to find like a clear cut value, and I don't.
Beatty, maybe.
We definitely have spend downs at catcher. That's
Yeah.
for sure. We have Jan Gomes 29, Gabriel Moreno 26. I think those two are probably the two that we wanted, right? Like those were the 2 catchers we honed in on. Moreno for $300 more or $300 less seems pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I'm comfortable with Moreno there for sure. Let's see here. So Moreno. So I plugged in just to see where we're at. Lauer Morton with Moreno, Beatty, Adames, Peterson. It's 4,400 a player. We certainly had some guys in that range, whether we wanted to go Rowdy Tellez here at first base. Pavin Smith was 32.
I like both those
Tellez was
names.
43.
Yeah, I like both. Teleza 43 feels very cheap.
Yeah, good,
Um,
good power potential there. Pavin Smith's been getting on base,
he
but
has been.
Tellez has the better power numbers here. Um,
I think I have a spend down in the outfield for us, Brian Anderson. If we wanted to go Brian Anderson, I mean that's just a if we wanted to.
yeah, so that works. So this is what I got. I got with a $4,500 outfielder remaining. I have in place here Eric Lauer, Charlie Morton, Gabriel Moreno, Rowdy Tellez, Dairo Estrada, Brett Beatty, Willy Adames, Jock Peterson, Brian Anderson. So that gives us 3 Milwaukee, gives us 2 Giants with a $4,500 outfielder in play. Whether we wanted to do a one-off with Varsho, Nimmo's got Gray. We also have Haniger and Fordo
or
here.
yeah. Well,
Um,
you love the Giants, right?
I
I
love.
mean,
Well, I mean, we all should all love the Giants going up
agreed,
against Woodford here, right? So
agreed. No, I'm just saying, like, I think we're both getting exactly kind of what we want with 2 rookie one offs, which is
yeah,
great.
Beatty and Moreno, right?
Which is great. I like the idea of getting any one of those Giants outfielders because we have a boatload of them as options. I also love Dalton Varsho, so like you can't, I know he really struggled in a spot I thought he was going to thrive in on Monday. Um, he had an offer, and his profile against Lance Lynn was perfect. I'm okay going any one of them. I think Conforto hasn't looked great since returning from the injury. He did
Yeah,
look
I would lean
very
probably Yaz here over the group.
okay. We're gonna have some salary, so let's
Yeah,
if
we
we
got
want to mess
800. So
around.
this is good though, right? We build our lineup and now we say, okay, we have $800 left over. What do we want to do with this money. We like Lauer and Morton, but to your point, if we wanted to go Griffin Canning,
We can then
that's
spend up
11-8.
we
That
can spend
gets
up
you
at
Joe
third.
Ryan.
Well, also if we wanted to go Canning Morton or Canning Lauer rather, then we have extra money to even get spend up on a third baseman or
Here's maybe a play. You let me know what you think. I just went down from Roddy Tellez to Pavin Smith,
okay. Yeah,
and
I'm
that let me
watching
get Joe Ryan,
Joe
Eric
Ryan.
Lauer.
Do you I like Pavin Smith here against Brady Singer? Brady Singer's been awful. So I know
It's
that
a 6-7 stack for Moreno, Pavin Smith. They hit right next to each other too. I'm not saying it's got to happen. I was just saying it's doable to get a double spend up. You also like Nestor Cortez, I feel like, a little bit more than Joe Ryan. If
I
I was,
just liked the mid tier better than the necessary. I felt better about the Lauer Morton range. Didn't feel like we needed to go up and spend up
no,
at pitcher.
I agree with you. If we kept Pavin Smith in there, we'd have $1,900 left over. That could help us get uh,
Ian
Ian
Happ.
Happ or something like that. And it doesn't really move the needle per se. You could get Corbin Carroll, and now you're stacking 3 guys, but there's not really a ton of lineup continuity with Moreno, Smith, and Carroll there. So kind of pushing us back into Tellez and an outfielder. We could also go up and try to get a top price first baseman too. I mean, we have no St. Louis here against Manaya, so
Yeah. Um.
I think this more again speaks to the fact why you mentioned right before you and I went on air. Largely, you and I love playing single entries, but the way some of these matchups are with MLB DFS this year, playing a 3 max, throwing a couple of entries in these tournaments here, and getting you that lineup exposure certainly helps out when you find you have a lot of guys in spots that you like.
Well, how about this? Try this. Keep Rowdy at first,
Yep.
and go down from Morton to Canning.
Okay.
Then we have $3,000 left. We
We
could
can play
literally
any first baseman we
afford.
want,
Well, we
any
could play
third baseman we
any
want, rather.
third baseman, or if we kept Beatty, we can literally go get Ronald Acuna against the guy who's making his debut at 26 years old.
Would you rather Riley at 54 or Acuna? Probably.
I mean, there's probably no wrong answer. That's a very hard.
Who are we?
Yeah, Shrimp. Go from. Well, I was thinking either one. I mean, either one of those guys work. You can actually Acuna's 66, so you would have to go from Yastrzemski to
Or we go from Lauer to
Morton.
Morton.
Lauer to Morton. You prefer Lauer than Morton, right?
I feel like Lauer's the better play.
I feel better about Lauer as well.
Um,
I feel better about Lauer for
yeah.
sure.
So we go.
We'll go Yastrzemski. Go back to Anderson and then go Acuna Yastrzemski or Acuna Anderson.
Yeah. So that
So
gives
there
us
was
$100 left over there with Griffin Canning, Eric Lauer is our starting pitching, Gabriel Moreno, Rowdy Tellez, Thairo Estrada, Brett Beatty, Willy Adames, Jock Peterson, Ronald Acuna, and Brian Anderson. That gives us a 3-man stack for Milwaukee. We got a 2-man stack, Peterson Estrada for San Francisco. One also Ronald Acuna, Brett Beatty, and Gabriel Moreno there, closing out our 9-game slate for the lineup. Howard Bender, again, is on the playbook. James and I will always be in the Discord there, helping you guys out, answering your questions, getting you ready for the slate up until roster lock there. If you have any questions, find us there. Follow us on Twitter if you're not already doing so, as well. You see our handles there at @real_real grande, at Impemba777 for myself here. For James and I, will be back for the live stream on 5 o'clock Eastern here on Tuesday to give you all the latest news. For now, though,